Hi there, I'm Drew Badger, the world's #1 English fluency guide, and it is a pleasure to welcome you to another advanced listening practice lesson. I hope you're excited for this one. This should be an interesting lesson. Well, I try to make them all interesting, but this video in particular, and I guess I say that all the time too, I'm trying to make everything interesting and fun, and hopefully you learn a lot from these lessons. Incidentally, if there are any things, anythings if there are other things you'd like to learn or anything specifically maybe you need help with, you can just comment down below and let me know if you have any questions. I was also thinking about possibly doing a live lesson. It depends on my internet. I'll have to see how that is. But if you're interested in something like that, I might have a live lesson here on YouTube. If you'd be interested, do let me know in the comments section below and I'll think about doing that. So it might be like a chance for just you asking questions, like a question answer kind of thing, or anything else if you have particular things that you'd like to know more about. Anyway, in this lesson, what I wanted to talk about was the emotions that you feel. This is really more of a lesson for people that feel nervous about speaking for whatever reason. And fluency is such an interesting thing really for me because it's like a tangled web, a tangled knot of many different things that come together, like being able to use grammar correctly, or having good pronunciation, being able to understand native speakers, being able to use correct vocabulary or native sounding vocabulary when you speak, so you don't have that kind of textbook robotic kind of way of speaking. I should say. So all of these things, these are the 7 fluency habits that come together, and as you develop them, they all improve each other and help you become a more confident speaker. But what's interesting is that you can also think about the emotional side of how you learn and when you're speaking. And if you're aware of this thing, what kind of typically people will do, they get into a situation like myself. I had the same problem. So when I was first starting to speak Japanese and I was really bad at it, and I would go into conversations and I wouldn't want to say anything. So people would maybe be like a group of people standing around, maybe some other foreigners that also spoke much better than I did. And also we've got some Japanese people. So maybe just imagine a party and there's a group of people standing there. I'm kind of listening and not really understanding everything, but being also a little bit shy. So I don't want anybody to look at me and say, hey, what do you think about this? And I'm like, I can't speak about that because I can't speak Japanese very well. So I could feel very nervous in those situations. And a lot of times I would see a group of people standing there and I would kind of sit and listen just to practice my listening a little bit. But I would be really nervous about trying to get into that situation. So even just standing in front of a group of people or with a group of people was intimidating for me. And I think it's important that I understand, and I try to help you understand now with this video, that you should really embrace, to welcome this feeling, the kind of negative emotions or the things that you feel, that fear that appears when you're in a situation where you have to speak, or if in kind of any situation where maybe you're listening to something and you don't quite understand something. The more you embrace the fear, the more you welcome that and you're honest with that, especially when you're mentioning that to other people. And that's more of what I started doing as I became fluent. So when I was first doing it, the kind of natural reaction is you feel fear about, okay, I don't want to say anything wrong, so I'm not going to speak. I don't want to mispronounce a word or show that I'm making a mistake, so I'm just not going to say anything. So this is the path that stops you because there's no way you can make progress unless you actually say something. So you have to, it's a thing you train, like getting into the gym, build muscle, or learning to practice an instrument, learning to play an instrument. So you actually have to play the instrument or get into the gym and train if you want to get muscles or develop fluency in an instrument. So in my case, the first step was kind of just feeling really nervous about wanting to speak. And so I wanted to express myself. And I think, well, in English, I'm like a very smart person, I guess. I have things to say and like maybe I can say something interesting in the conversation. But in Japanese, when I was first trying to speak, I couldn't say anything. So I was just like, I don't really know what to do. And I was just feeling nervous about that. But the second phase is recognizing, okay, like, let me think about this. And like the real confidence comes from admitting that you do feel nervous, because everybody does. So the one person that can say, oh, like, Yeah, my Japanese is not very good, but I'd like to try to say something anyway. So, like, I'm feeling nervous, or you can even say, of somebody else, like, let's say you're talking with them and maybe you might think you're being annoying by trying to talk with somebody else. I know I felt that way, especially like Japanese speakers, like, they couldn't quite understand what I was saying, but I was trying to express myself anyway. And so I might say to them, like, I know, like, I'm getting the feeling that maybe you're feeling like a little bit annoyed by me. So I'm sorry about that. I'm not apologizing for my language. I'm just saying my intention is not to make you feel nervous. So, I'm trying to express this in Japanese, but the point is either I'm thinking about my own emotions and just trying to be honest about them, or be honest about my emotions for myself and then tell that to other people. So I might say, oh, I'm a little bit nervous. So I would just practice saying that, like, oh, I'm nervous, but I own that nervousness, OWN, to own that. So I feel kind of a sense of pride because by admitting that I'm nervous, I'm able to take the next step. And it's a hard thing to do. Now, the reason that you should do this is because everybody knows you're nervous already. It's easy to see and you recognize it. So by not saying anything, you're not really hiding anything from other people. So you might as well do the opposite. You might as well say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm feeling a little bit nervous right now. So you don't have to complain about your language or apologize for your language ability. You can just say, oh, I'm feeling a little bit nervous. Or again, the opposite thing that I was just talking about, where you're describing maybe the emotion that the other person is feeling. So we easily recognize these emotions in each other. And if we can be honest about that, either for the other person or for ourselves, then it's much easier to explain to that thing or kind of open up the conversation and make it a much more relaxing and comfortable situation in which to speak. So in my case, when, again, the first step was I was too nervous to say anything, but everybody knew I was nervous anyway. So I wasn't hiding from anything. I'm just standing there like, I'm feeling nervous and I don't want to speak. But then the next step is, okay, I'm going to own that nervousness. And if I communicate that to other people, then it's going to help me speak much more confidently. And then that's exactly what happened. So after a while, I became more confident about speaking. So I feel like the nervousness, I recognize it as just a physical sensation in my body. Okay, like I'm feeling maybe like my chest or my stomach, and I'm feeling myself getting a little bit nervous, and I would just tell that to people. Say, hey, I'm feeling a little bit nervous right now, but I'm excited to be in this conversation and to practice my English or practice my Japanese in that case. So you can do the exact same thing, especially if you're feeling nervous about either what you're feeling or what you think other people are feeling. So be honest about that and try to bring it up as part of the conversation. Again, either admitting how you feel and just saying, hey, I'm feeling nervous, or you're talking to other people and saying, oh, I feel that maybe you're like annoyed by me. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to communicate with you because I feel I could like help you do something, or I'd like to learn from you or something like that. And then you'll watch magically how the conversation changes and how you feel like much more relaxed. It's like you're carrying a bunch of bricks and then you put them down, and you can finally enjoy the conversation much more. So when you're thinking about your conversations, if you're the kind of person that does get nervous, you want to say something but you don't, then own that nervousness, because it's not going to go away until you admit that it's there. And then you can say, oh, hello, nervousness. Like, there you are. Okay, well, bye-bye. So you kind of admit that the nervousness is there, and then you make that a point of the conversation. And you can even talk about that. Like, you can ask the other person, like, hey, have you ever been nervous about, something like that as well? Like, how did you eliminate the nervousness? And then you can talk about that actual thing. But then it becomes like not you, but you're kind of talking about, it's like you're removing it from yourself and discussing it like it's a separate thing. And then you say bye-bye to that thing. Anyway, think about that and try to apply that in your own life. So again, either for your own emotions or when you're getting a certain feeling from someone else about how they maybe are thinking or feeling, then you can talk about that. Be honest about that, and you'll be surprised at how quickly the conversation changes. And how quickly and I guess more confident you feel when you're in conversations with people. Well, that's the end of this lesson. I hope you have enjoyed it. Do apply what you're learning in this and the other videos in this series, as well as everything else. I think I give too much information, actually. You can let me know in the comments below if I'm trying to teach you too much, try to help you learn too much. For me, I'm always trying to learn something new, always trying to improve. And if you apply that same philosophy to your own life, you will notice amazing improvement in not only your fluency, but everything else in your life. Well, have a great day. Do enjoy your day. Do own any of the negative feelings of fear or nervousness or embarrassment you might have. Own those. Make it a part of the conversation, and you will feel your confidence growing much more quickly. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye. To continue learning, click on the link in this video to download Speak English Naturally, our free guide to speaking and sounding like a native English speaker. The guide reveals the 3 most important kinds of conversational English you must learn if you want to sound native, and will help you experience instant improvement in your fluency and speaking confidence. To download your free guide on a mobile device, click on the link in the upper right of this video. To download your free guide from a computer, click on the link in the lower right of this video. I look forward to seeing you in the guide.